dangerous. That's one example. We found it also here on this toy. And this is a good tip, I think, for parents that they should be thinking about. Just think about the normal wear and tear that their child will have with a toy, and see if there are any flimsy parts like here. See if it's really easy to break right off. That'll be a choking hazard if it's small enough, and that's something that parents should be mindful of when they're purchasing toys this holiday season. We also found the toys that meet the letter of the law. They have proper labeling, but they don't really meet the spirit of the law, and I think this is another concern that parents need to be thinking about. These bolts right here, they're actually slightly bigger than the limit set by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. The concern, though, is that they're round, so that if a child swallows them, it actually constricts the airway and can cause a child to choke. We actually wanted to highlight this toy in particular because there was a similar toy out there on toy store shelves in previous years that had something very similar to this, where two boys actually died when they choked on something like this. So that's another example of where parents need to be looking at this, reading labels, and thinking about what's out there as concerns. And I just want to conclude with, just in terms of choking hazards, the biggest choking hazard out there, believe it or not, balloons. These were balloons that have the proper warning labels. They're so dangerous that the Consumer Product Safety Commission requires that they have warning labels on them that say that these should not be for children under the age of 8. The concern here, though, is they're marketed for children under the age of 8. Right here, these are balloons for a baby's first birthday. So again, there's a big concern there that it's being marketed for children under the age of 8, yet it has the proper warning label. I think it's also important just to remind parents that uninflated or balloons that have been popped and are just laying around the home, kids put those in their mouth like they do everything else, and that's a huge choking hazard. So that's something that parents should absolutely be looking out for. So these are just some of the hazards that we were able to find this year. I think this underscores and gives some good examples for the concerns that are out there. We've continued to release these reports year after year. As I said, this is the 22nd annual report that we've done, and it demonstrates that those hazards are still out there, and we need to do something to adequately fund the Consumer Product Safety Commission. We need to do something to absolutely ban lead in children's toys. There's no need for lead to be in children's toys. And a couple of quick tips for parents. They should use common sense. They shouldn't assume just because toys are out on toy store shelves they're safe. There isn't adequate testing out there. There isn't third-party testing. That should be something that is fixed by legislation. And then finally, I'd encourage parents to contact Congress, contact their legislators, and tell them that they want legislation to strengthen the Consumer Product Safety Commission, and they want legislation that outright bans any lead in children's toys at all. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And I'll turn it over to Nancy while I try and read my
He's highlighted some of the very dangers that we need to watch out for of toys still on the store shelves. So these are not products except for the Curious George that you mentioned that's already been recalled. Our next speaker is Inga Skippings. She is the partnership coordinator for the private equity project of the Service Employees International Union, SEIU. Prior to joining this effort to reverse the tide of historic income inequality on millions of Americans, Inga was a senior campaign communications specialist on the SEIU Private Security Campaign, the largest organizing effort of a predominantly African-American workforce in history. A former journalist, Inga has worked in local and network television news, including as a producer in ABC News Washington, D.C. Bureau. And Inga is going to talk to us a little bit about corporate responsibility, which is a key portion of product safety. For all that the toys and children's products are made in China, they are most often imported, manufactured, and sold for the profit of U.S. corporations, brand names that you all know, Mattel, Fisher-Price, and others. And so the corporate responsibility is obviously a key part of this issue.
Hello. First of all, thank you to the Congressman for having me here today, this evening, and involving SEIU's efforts to tackle the toxic toy problems, and this panel that does great work just across the board on this issue. I first want to say that when I was walking in here tonight, I met a young lady who's in a green shirt, and she's with the Urban Sustainability Authority. And what she told me was just the most common sense way to think about the lead and the toxins in toys. And I'm sorry, I'm embarrassing you. But what she basically said was, you know, this is not just about little kids, this is about teenagers, and other people who also have lead in their homes, who have toys in their homes that contain lead. And she said, this is about our brains. And this is, I mean, it just really brought home for me, really, just so smart. This is about our brains, what she said. We have these wonderful kids, and we just can't take any chances with the toys that are coming home. So in the past year, there's been a spike in the number of dangerous lead-filled toys in the market. And major stores like Toys R Us and Dollar General and other markets have been forced to recall millions of products for children. It's crazy, it's shocking, it's horrible, and it's something that came to SEIU's attention for those reasons. So what you may not know is that Toys R Us and Dollar General are both owned by a private equity firm called KKR, Kohlberg, Kravitz, and Roberts. And as the Congressman knows, his office has made efforts to talk to Dollar General. On at least one occasion, and Dollar General refused to respond to the questions that were sent to them. And so we're really calling on Dollar General, KKR, Toys R Us, and other leading retailers to not only adhere to the rules and regulations that the Congressman and others who are doing the good work on the Hill are putting together, but also to take the lead and recognize that this is about our children's brains, and to do what they can do on their own also to make things better. We are working with groups like the Coming Clean Coalition and Moms Rising, which is one of the largest moms groups in the country, to really call on KKR to act responsibly. And in addition to some of the things that Brian said earlier, it really, in addition to doing the research and not making the assumption that toys are safe because they're on the shelf, we really think parents should really use your power and engage the companies that are selling these toys, companies like KKR that own Toys R Us and Dollar General, and really to use your voice to tell them that you will not accept toxic toys being available to your kids, to your nieces, your nephews, people in your community. And that's basically the gist of what I'm saying today on corporate responsibility. But if we can all get together and we can combine our voices and let these retailers know this is not acceptable, it will have just a tremendous impact. And in closing, again, I'd like to thank the Congressman. The legislation, HR 4040, is exactly right on time. It's what we need, and it just runs the gamut of things that are going to help and address this issue of toxic toys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingrid. Next, we're going to hear from Olivia Farrow, who has come to us from Baltimore. She's the Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Environmental Health for the Baltimore City Health Department. Been there since November 2003. Her division provides animal control, food control, vector control, and community environmental health services. Prior to this, she was Director of Baltimore's Health Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program. She began with Baltimore City Health Department as an environmental sanitarian in 1985. In that position, she worked in the Bureau of Animal Control, the Bureau of Food Control, and the former Community Hygiene institutional facilities. She returned to school in 1995 and earned her JD from the University of Baltimore School of Law. And in 2000, she became the first lead paint attorney for the Mayor's Lead Paint Poisoning Prevention Initiative. Ms. Farrow?
Good evening, everyone. I think I'm going to sit right here because I have a few slides to present to you. If we can get those up, and let's see. Tonight I want to talk to you a little bit about what your local health departments and state health departments and